Roland Steyn, bro, thank you so much for coming through. I really appreciate it.
My absolute pleasure.
So, off the bat, just my first initial thought was seeing how many private gyms fail. You know, that was obviously a big risk initially going into it because you are, you know, the big boss at all the Mifitness, the gym, the kids' playground, the equipment.
Yeah, so I mean, listen, private gyms is a hard business to get into. Virgin Active, Planet Fitness are hard competitors, or tough competitors rather. So you know, from my side, we didn't go into owning a gym purely for owning a gym and making lots of money off it. We use it as a showroom to showcase our products, to basically to monetize our showroom. So we've got 1,000 square meters. We are upgrading to 2,000 square meters now.
Nice. Is that going to be above?
Above, yeah. So we're going to convert the first floor just to a strength training floor. I want to add like another 50 pieces of strength machines.
So the showroom now will also become more of the weight section?
Yeah. So the cardio is going to move upstairs.
Okay.
And then we'll add some maybe recovery sections, physios, bios, chiros, and the like. So yeah, we're just going to. I think strength training is becoming a big thing again. It kind of went from traditional training and cardio to CrossFit, high intensity interval training, and now you're seeing a shift, almost like a paradigm shift in the market where people are going back to traditional training or just changing. You've done it yourself. You've seen how you've changed from you were boxing and you were big into your strength training, and now you're into endurance and that kind of thing. And you may change back to it as you get older.
Yeah, well, I mean, my goal is always to still do 4 or 5 weight sessions a week. So irrespective of maybe like closer to a run, a race, or an ultra, then I'll taper down slightly on the weights. But I still want to be hitting the gym, 4 times a week, even if I'm doing a lot of running.
Yeah.
Because the endorphins are different to obviously endurance, but there's nothing else that compares. Like CrossFit, I've maybe done 1 or 2 sessions. Boxing I've done and thoroughly enjoyed it. But I don't know, the strength training just is different psychologically for me and for a lot of people.
Yeah. And High Rocks, what do you think of that?
I've seen it and I've chatted to a guy who does it and I've seen his physique and it looks great. And I think if I had to go into like the more CrossFit-y type style of training, I would probably go more towards High Rocks because it incorporates the endurance with semi-CrossFit-y style of training. So I definitely think I would try it, but right now it's mainly just like endurance and lifting weights.
Well, I was at FIBO last week and they had a High Rocks event there, and it was a vibe. So I think that's going to become the next big thing when it comes to high intensity interval
because Dom,
training.
His gym's doing very well with High Rocks now.
Yeah. I think he was the first affiliated gym. Yeah. So and he's got a CrossFit background also and a personal training background. So he's jumped onto it quite quickly, but I think people are going to jump onto it quite quickly because it's less technical than CrossFit. You don't have the Olympic weightlifting, and I think it's more affordable actually because the affiliations are much lower than a CrossFit affiliation. And this might be a bit the CrossFit community might get upset with me saying this, but I think it's going to take a lot of people away from CrossFit and into High Rocks.
Yeah, no, I definitely think
it's already
so.
happening.
Yeah,
but you're finding CrossFit gyms are also jumping onto the bandwagon and becoming affiliated. But you have to look at the value that you're getting from being a CrossFit affiliate versus a High Rocks affiliate and the cost, because it's I don't know what a CrossFit affiliate and the cost now is. I think it's 80,000 Rand a year.
Yeah,
where a High Rocks affiliation is, I think 10,000 Rand a year. I don't know.
Yeah,
Dom would know better.
So when was the inception of Mifitness? Was it pre-COVID or was it because of COVID?
Oh, no, long before COVID. Mifitness is actually 15 years old already.
Okay.
So I started the business when I was 23. So young and dumb, I would say, and kind of just with a big dream and making lots of mistakes. But COVID was obviously good for us.
Yeah.
COVID was a bad time, but we had some positives, obviously we sold a lot of gym equipment in leading up to COVID and throughout COVID. But that's just being at the right place at the right time. No one could have predicted what was going to happen, and I'd rather not have had COVID.
Yeah.
Because it kind of threw our business on its head also, because we were closed for 3 months.
Yeah.
So it's all well and fine selling gym equipment for a couple of weeks, but we were closed for 3 months. And, we're quite a big, we employ 120 people. So those were significant costs to bear when you're closed and not making any revenue.
So I've seen a massive shift from people, and I know people personally that, were training at Move, Golds, that are now traveling a little bit further just to go to Mifitness.
Mifitness gym, yeah.
And that's a good feather in your cap, and it's nice to see that irrespective of the distance, people are still willing to travel to come to your gym because of what you've created.
I think that, but also if you look at some of the athletes that we've got training there, Matthew Weitz, if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
I'm not even sure.
David Watkins.
Yeah, that's exactly who I'm talking about.
I mean, but I think it comes down to the equipment that we've got in there. It's very different, specialized pieces that you don't find in any other gyms. Must give Move credit because they have started investing in these types of equipment also, and the members love it. Mm-hmm. The feedback that we've gotten from Move is that the members love it. So Move has jumped onto it quite quickly. And it's good. We don't want to compete with our customers. We're just creating a showroom a working showroom so we can speak the same language to our customers, so we understand the challenges that they face.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what you're doing, is also trying to speak the customer's language, because when you walk into that gym, it feels like a gym that was created for someone that is there to lift and someone that's trying to improve their physique.
So what was nice about it? I've got no business partners in Mifitness. So I have had gyms before, but I always had partners and stuff. So I couldn't build the gym that I really wanted to, Where this time I just we got my creative juices flowing and I built the gym that I wanted. And now I'm building the gym that my members want, because we had no members when we started. But now I listen to the members, and we're putting the equipment in for the members. So we've become quite a serious training facility, especially for fitness athletes and bodybuilders. So we're building a gym around that now, So the specialized machines that I want to add are machines that you're not going to see anywhere else in the world, well, in South Africa. So we're going to put some Gym Lico pieces in, which is quite a well-known strength brand from, I think it's Sweden, if I'm not mistaken. Specialized pieces, and, a lot of people, it's not so much the brand of equipment that you put in, it's what the biomechanics of the equipment. So, you don't have to put Technogym in, you don't have to put our brand in, but you have to be comfortable with the biomechanics of the equipment. But then the specialized pieces, people like the toys in the gym. And that's what gives you your loyal memberships.
Yeah, I think it's a particular machine that can work a different part of the back, whereas like at Virgin, it's a lat pull down in a row. Yeah. And there's no real variations.
Well, for us on back, we've got the extreme row, which I did my first back session in quite a while. As I mentioned to you earlier, I had 3 back operations. So I've stayed away from my training for a while. But, belt squat as an example. We've got 2 belt squats in our gym. Most gyms don't even have one. There's only a handful of gyms that have belt squats. Move have got belt squats in all their facilities now. And that is one of the most important machines I think a gym needs to have now. Not only for people like me that suffer with some back issues, I can't do a squat, but a belt squat, because the weight is, the load is at lower down rather than on my shoulders, is much better. But glute training is the next big thing. And South Africa is fairly slow when it comes to adopting trends. But I travel all over the world. I've got my business in the Middle East also. So we see the trends as they're happening. And that is one trend. And if I can give any advice to gyms, is to get onto it right now and put in glute zones into their gyms. Because people are going to leave gyms that don't have these things, And these are all the things that, what I try to do is I go overseas and I go to all these expos and stuff, and I try to bring products into the country and be the first to market with them.
Well, I mean, if you look at what Planet Fitness is overseas, the Purple Planet Fitness in America.
So it's completely different companies, yeah.
It's a different company, but that's almost what Virgin Active has become, where it's just a gym for everyday people. Someone that maybe wants to bench, they want to build a decent physique, but maybe they want access all over the country. But it's not, Mifitness become for the serious lifters, where you've got all these different machines. Because I go to Virgin now and it's almost frustrating, because there's one squat rack in the entire facility, one Smith machine,
So they cater for the masses.
Yeah.
So you can understand where they're coming from, where we cater for the minority, basically.
But it makes business sense to do it what you're doing, because it's like any, business is, they see a trend. So the trend now is obviously good glutes, and it's going to be like that for a very long time. So, okay, what machines can target the glutes a bit more that are different? And so you don't have to do hip thrusts and squats, and that's it.
Well, you don't have to do hip thrusts on a barbell, with rolled up mats and stuff like that. There's specific equipment designed for that now, and they're inexpensive also. So every gym should have a hip thrust machine. Every gym should have a belt squat. Every gym should have a rear kick. Every gym should have a standing abductor. These are what the ladies, it's going to happen where the ladies will demand this, and you don't want to lose your member to another gym that has this. So, with Virgin Active, I think they know the trends, but also they're bigger companies. So it's a big ship to move around.
Yeah, they got so many members that it's also kind of just like, well, we keep getting more members. Our members are paying. Sometimes they don't come, but, we just so big.
The big benefit to them is they've got the Vitality link. And that's why it's very difficult for these private gyms to compete. Virgin Active is a customer of ours, so we understand their business model quite well. So I can't say anything negative about them.
Well, I mean, I still go to Virgin, so it's not like
I've got nothing negative to say because their business model works, But if you want to compete with them, you have to differentiate. You can't create a Virgin Active with different colors and expect it to work. You've seen gyms like Go Health, who did the same thing. Technogym equipment. It was basically a copy and paste. But they don't have the Vitality link, And the Vitality link, I think there's an argument for all gyms to be part of Vitality, but you have to have a business case with Vitality also. They can't just allow any Tom, Dick, and Harry to be part of the Vitality platform. So Move is part of the platform, I believe, Planet Fitness and Virgin Active.
So is that something you'd like to do and look at?
I kind of stay on the fringes in the sense I don't get too involved. I'm not going to argue for or against it. It's not my place. As a supplier to these companies, it's not right to disagree or agree with it. I just stay away from it. But having a subsidy does benefit you. But like, look at Move. They had to have how many gyms before they even got on the platform, and has spent loads of money. So you got to have a business case. Otherwise, you can't go to a public company if you only got a membership of 100 members. You really can't. You have no say in the matter. But you have to come in with thousands of members to actually come on the platform, I think.
So you mentioned starting this business at 23. What was your prior business experience, growing up? Were your parents in business, or, what was your first introduction to business that got you excited to be an entrepreneur?
So I grew up with four sisters, one of five children. We didn't grow up with a lot of money, very humble beginnings. So I had to kind of make my own pocket money. So I used to go around as a bit of an entrepreneur. In those days, I was the only one with a CD writer. Now I'm 38 years old, so this was in 99, 2000. So it was very difficult to get a CD writer in those days. It was quite expensive. So I had a CD writer, and I had probably about 6,000 songs that I used to have as a list, and I used to sell CDs. So fairly illegal. So luckily I'm over that now. But that's what started me with the entrepreneurial spirit. And then I studied audiovisual production, so filmmaking. I never went into the industry. I went straight into working for a medical company, and I became a marketing manager at the company within a year. But within that year, I had approached the owner about starting this business, Mifitness. And I said, listen, I'll do it in my own time. I'll respond to the queries in my own time. We just need to order stock. So he financed the first container through his business, and we're profitable from day one. And, I outgrew the partnership and I bought him out just as COVID happened. And then during this time also, during my work experience, I also studied, I did my postgrad in marketing management and then my master's in digital marketing. So I also taught myself how to use Photoshop and that kind of stuff, which has been, the website I designed and that kind of thing. So I was very hands-on in the beginning, but now I've got people that do that kind of work. But these were skills that you need when you're starting off.
So is that advice you'd give like entrepreneurs maybe starting out, is at first you do need to be able to do everything, or you might not at least be able to afford a web designer and marketers. So you need to be a jack of all trades initially, or would you say maybe start slower and delegate? Or
I can only speak from my experience. So my experience is being a jack of all trades. But the phrase of saying a master of none is not true, I don't think, because you'll find out of all these things that you do and got skills in, you'll become really good at one thing. If you don't try, then you're not going to be good at anything. So the advice I would give is that, yes, you save a lot of money by being able to do it yourself, and you've got the internet. The internet is such a powerful tool. You can learn video, you can learn anything you want, and it can teach you anything. And that's how I learned. Nobody taught me how to do Photoshop. And so I would say that. And the other advice I would give is, like, people always say, you have to have balance. And do you believe that you have to have balance?
not if you want it to grow and be successful.
100%. And that's the thing. Tell Elon Musk that he needs balance. You can't achieve extraordinary things by being balanced. And I always say, and my wife hears it all the time, is that to have balance, you have to have unbalance first. And the unbalance is you have to work those crazy hours. You have to invest a lot of money, more than what is balanced. You have to take lots of risks, and to eventually get to the point where you control your own time, where you don't work an 8 to 5.
Yeah, it's difficult because, you'll be surrounded by people that maybe do work those corporate jobs, and they have those certain hours where they have to be there, and they'll say to the entrepreneur, to the person trying to make it on their own, you're not enjoying life, you're not making use of your time, you're only young for a certain amount of time. But it's, I might be young now and sacrificing a lot of the nice things to be successful, but when I get to 40, I'm going to be leaps and bounds ahead of you.
Well, what are you going to do at 27 if you're not doing this? Are you going to drink and go party? Well, how's that going to help you?
Yeah, exactly.
So at 23 years old, I started the business, and that's all I've done. And I'm very passionate about my business. I live and breathe the brand. I work 24/7. As long as my eyes are open, I'm working. But I genuinely love it. So who is anybody else to judge me? I mean, it's like you can ask me what are my hobbies, and my hobbies are my businesses.
Yeah. And so that's what's the difference, the difference between, passion and really enjoying doing what you're doing. Because yes, you're working 24/7. Yes, might be replying emails early on a Sunday morning or whatever it may be, but it's because you enjoy it. It doesn't actually feel like work. You're not sitting there like, oh, I just want this to be done.
No, it's exactly how it is. And that's why I think I've been successful in this industry, is because I've treated it that way. But like the play park as an example, my wife is actually running with that now. I created the concept and whatever it is, and then I've handed it over now for other people to manage on a daily basis.
Well, let's discuss that play park, because in Avianto there, in the cradle there, we often when we go cycling there, I heard once, it was one of the guys that was cycling with us, that it was going to be the biggest playground in Southern Africa. And then the next weekend I was cycling with my dad, and he said the biggest in Africa. So is it like a particular size that it's breaking any records?
Well, this is a thing. According to my knowledge, it's one of the biggest in Africa. So if somebody disagrees, then they must prove me wrong. I know there's one other play park that's fairly large called Bugs Play Park in Cape Town. But ours is quite a unique concept, We've got the biggest jumping pillow in the world.
I saw that. I saw the video. I went go-karting there as well, but
it's a lot of fun, eh?
Yeah, good fun. Fun. So let's talk about, why a play park?
So we sell playground equipment. So again, it's a showroom for us. We've also got a play park in Sunning Hill that's fully booked months in advance. Small one. So we've got a bit of experience in it. And I've also got a little 7-year-old and a 4-year-old boys. So that's how I got into playground equipment, is that I wanted to buy playground equipment for my boys, and there's no one that really carries stock. So we went into it, and it's a business that just went from strength to strength, and it's still going, and it's about 7 years old now. So that's distributing the playground equipment. Now, the play park, we know that works. And the developer, now let me just take a back step now. The developer of Avianto is my landlord for all my buildings. I've got about 10,000 square meters of offices and warehousing that I rent from him. And he's got so much land in Avianto. Avianto is 3.5 million square meters big. Sure. It's bigger than the size of Monaco. So it's massive. And I live there also. It's a beautiful estate. I live on a river. I'm 15 minutes, took me 15 minutes to get here. So I'm 15 minutes away from the hustle and bustle, but I'm in nature and in basically in the cradle. So I approached him about opening up a play park. And our discussions developed a little bit from here, there, whatever it is. And then eventually he started came up with this idea that he wants to create like a venue called Syringa Park. And then that's where the play park would be created. So, yeah, the short of it is that. But there was no feasibility study. It's never been done before. So not in South Africa. So, and it's in the cradle and it's a little bit far out. So there's a lot of people in the naysayers that say, well, we'll never work. But we had on our first weekend there, we were having 500 kids a day there.
Sure.
And it was packed. So there's a need for it. People need to get out. They need to leave the hustle and bustle and get out in the open. And people stay there the whole day with their families.
Because there's restaurants, there's the go-kart.
Yeah, there's 14 street vendor type restaurants there. There's Jeremy Loops that's going to be playing sometime in May there. Lots of concerts.
I see they're announcing a fight or something that's happening there.
Yeah, so I'm fighting. I'm the main card.
So that's the one.
Yeah, I'm the main card. Yeah, on the 11th of May. So if you guys want to watch, you can go book on.
Because I saw that. Actually, I sent it to my friends. I was like, we must go watch.
Yeah. So I'm 122 kilograms and I'm fighting a guy 126.
Okay.
So that's super, super heavyweight.
So that's 11th of May.
Yeah.
You mentioned having your back fused.
Yeah.
You want to explain? You said you fell down some stairs.
Yeah. So probably about 9 years ago, I was walking with flip-flops outside my house, and I slipped on the tiled stairs, and I hit my L5 S1 on the corner of the step. So I got injured there, and it got progressively worse. And then I had lots of rhizotomies, but eventually the pain was unbearable. I mean, I couldn't sit. I traveled a lot, but I couldn't sit, couldn't stand for long periods of time, couldn't bend over. So eventually I had to go for a more serious operation. And people always tell you not to go for backups because you always have another one and another one. But at the same time, you got to live your life, and you can't live in pain. So I had rhizotomy. I was out of action for 2 weeks. That failed. Then a month later, I had a laminectomy, discectomy. Did my 2 months recovery on that. That also failed, and I slipped a disc again. And then in August, I had back fusion. I was out of action for 3 months. So I spent the majority of my year, more than 6 months, pretty much on my back and not being allowed to sit last year, 2023. And that was while I opened a branch in the Middle East in Dubai.
Sure.
So to manage all those things was quite difficult. And then I opened our second gym in Avianto.
What kind of struggles did you go through mentally and emotionally with business and not being able to even train, all of that? So
the first, fortunately, our systems allow us now already for me to work at home. I don't actually go to an office. I don't have an office. I work from wherever I need to be. So from that perspective, I was able to work no problem. Everything's done on the laptop. The first back operation went quite well. I was walking within a week, and I walked a lot. I lost a lot of weight. It was brilliant. But then I did get very despondent after that failed. And the 3-month back fusion tested your mental fortitude. Because I just felt after 2 or 3 weeks that I was never going to recover. And still now I'm only recovering. Still now I've got back pain or whatever it is, but it's getting better every day. But I guess the frustrating thing is just losing that connection with your employees, not being able to. Already now, because the business has gotten so big, I don't see my staff every day. We've got branches in Cape Town, Pretoria, 2 in Joburg. We've got the gyms and the play parks. So I don't get to see everybody, and that's the hardest part. So already now I didn't get to see anybody, but also not seeing them for almost 6 months was tough. You lose that connection with your staff. So my general manager, my right-hand man, also resigned the day before I had my back fusion. So I had to, and I didn't employ anybody again. So I took on those responsibilities while I was having back surgery and stuff. So that was quite difficult. And no blame to him. I mean, he was doing what was right for him. He doesn't need to plan his life around me. But it was like, it was tough.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Oh, and also, I had during my back fusion, I had some complications. I lost all feeling in my left arm for about a week, and then slowly but surely it all came back. But I still can't feel my fingertips.
Sure.
So
at least now when you're boxing in the fights, you won't be feeling it.
Yeah. No, but like, listen, the boxing's fun, and that's what I do. That's what I enjoy. That's my style of training that I enjoy, and then the strength training supplements that. But I did one thing. I have struggled to bounce back after the back operations. The getting back into it. I was in fairly good shape before it. From 2020, I really concentrated hard on my diet and training and that kind of thing. And I put on a lot of weight and bad weight after the back surgery because my head wasn't right with training. And when you lose that spark for training, it's a drag. You just don't want to exercise, and every time you do, it's not like releasing the dopamines that you want and the endorphins. But now I've got my mojo back, so I'm really enjoying the training again. The boxing, boxing, you can only learn.
Yeah.
You start at a base where you don't even know how to throw a combination, and you can only get better. And that's why boxing is a nice form of exercise because it's progressive.
Yeah.
Same as strength training. You can measure it quite nicely.
That, you mentioned having a lot of employees now, and the business, you've scaled it to, multiple locations. What was most difficult for you about scaling? For me, myself, I would say it's relinquishing some control.
Yeah, I've been able to learn how to delegate. You just have to have the right people around you. And I've got a very good management team, and believe it or not, the only women. So, I mean, I grew up with a household of women, and now I'm surrounded by women. I'm married to a woman, of course. And then I've got women beside me in my management team that help me run the business. They're very admin focused. They're very good. So you just have to find the right people to share the journey with. And that's the hardest part, I think, is finding the people that share your vision, but have that passion for the brand also.
Because my dad's always talking about how, and it's a fine line to walk, but I think maybe this is a mistake on his part, is he'll say he doesn't want the very, very best because then they can become his competition. Yeah. How would you feel about that? Obviously, you do want the best, but then you do run the risk of them maybe being poached because they're so good.
So, I mean, listen, you at the end of the day, you have to have watertight contracts where people can't take your intellectual property. I mean, we've got over 57,000 active customers, so between consumers and businesses and stuff like that. So our database is very important to us. So anyone that works for me, they can go start their own business. That's great, even in the same industry, but just don't take my IP. Don't contact my suppliers. Those are suppliers that I found. It cost me a lot of money to find, traveled the world, created those relationships. So don't do that. Do it on your own like I did, where you have to learn by yourself on your own, develop those relationships with customers. And then if you're willing to do that, then by all means do it. But we're also a tough competitor. And also our industry, the gym equipment game, is very much capital intensive. We have to carry about 100 million rand in stock. 3,000 SKUs. So you by all means go for it, but you're going to have deep pockets to compete also. And it's going to take time. It's taken us 15 years to get to that point. People ask, how do you get that amount of stock holding? Well, the reality of the situation is that it just takes time. It's 15 years. It's a decade and a half. And that's what young guys sometimes forget. I don't know how you feel about the young guys. I'm talking about 23, 24, just finished university. I was like that also. I had these big dreams that I was going to earn big money from day one. And I had to come back to earth very quickly and realize I have to start at the bottom, pretty much working for free to get the experience. Because what value do I have? Might have an education, but I'm not street smart. I don't know how to do anything. I don't know tax. This is the other thing, is that high schools don't teach you much about tax, VAT, running a business, and that kind of stuff. And I disagree with the way kids are educated in these days. They're not taught that, they're not given the tools to actually start businesses.
No, I completely agree with you. And, and that's what's my issue. I mean, my mom's the deputy headmaster at a school, and her and I chat at length about, and even she agrees with me on certain things, a lot of things. But when I was doing terrible in maths, I always had in my own head, because of how the school system is made, that I'm not going to be a success in life. I'm not going to be able to be financially free or be able to do anything because my maths marks are bad. Where that maths mark that you get in school is no indication of the future that you can potentially build for yourself. I was
a very average, when I say average, 50% average at high school. And I think probably some of the teachers at school thought I'd never amount to anything. A guy that went to school with me was John Vandenberg from NPL. I don't know if you know NPL. And we grew up together, same background and that kind of thing. And we still work together. In these days, they buy gym equipment from us. They do a lot of their shoots in my gym. We sell their supplements and whatever it is. So we've stayed quite close over the years. But we both probably, people thought we weren't going to achieve much in our lives. Look at them. NPL is one of the biggest supplement brands in South Africa. They're also in the Middle East. They're exporting also into New Zealand. And I love these success stories, especially from people that have backgrounds where they haven't been given much. But we had a little bit, and with that little bit, we've created something exceptional, I think.
Yeah. I want to put a pin in the South African business market, but how is managing the exchange rate with your stock? Because obviously it comes internationally. So
it's the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
It's the biggest challenge. When I started my business, we were at around 6 to 7 rand to the dollar. And I checked this morning, we're at 19, 17 to the dollar. So that's 3 times more expensive. You want to ask how about inflation? Well, there we go. That's one of the biggest drivers of inflation in South Africa is our currency weakness. And that is a big challenge. And how do we solve it? Well, you look at Brazil, theirs weakens even worse than ours. Iran devalues even worse of ours, but you just have to keep on trucking. There's nothing else you can do about it, And it used to affect me and keep me up at night and whatever it is, but you learn just to manage it now. But it does become more expensive for the consumer. Now, it's becoming so expensive to open gyms in this country because of the rand dollar, yet we can only charge, I think the average is 500 rand a month for a membership, where you take our gym and you put it into Europe. That's 1,500 to 2,000 rand gym. You put it into Zimbabwe even, you'll be getting $100 a month. And that's the challenge in South Africa. I think our gym memberships, and a lot of this is up for debate, also actually too cheap for the value that you get. For 500 rand a month, you get to shower, shave, do a workout. Sauna if you've got a sauna and that kind of thing. Yet people don't, and there's a lot, and you know how much bad debt there is with owning a gym, where people don't pay their memberships. And you get all that value for 500 rand a month, and you'll spend 500 rand a month or 500 rand on one night out. Yet people won't pay, they don't see their value in a gym contract. And that's a weird thing for South Africa, where they don't respect a lot of people don't respect the contract.
Yeah. So,
and there's a lot of gyms that take advantage of the contracts also,
That's what I actually want to discuss.
So one thing with our gym that's a bit different is month-to-month memberships, no joining fees, and you just have to give a month's notice if you want to cancel. If you don't want to be at our gym anymore, we don't want to hold a gun to your head. But a lot of gyms put you into contracts for 36 months and then blacklist you, for a gym contract. You should allow people to exit a gym if they don't want to be there anymore.
Was that a business model that you adopted of, I actually think would get more clients if we have...
Yes, because, what have they got to lose? If they don't like it, then they cancel their contract. And 500 rand a month is a fairly decent price, I would say, for the value that you get.
Absolutely.
And again, it's one of our differentiators. And the other differentiator for the new gym is we're going to have a ladies only section. I think it's important for women to be able to train in environments where they feel comfortable.
Yeah, because apology on behalf of all men, because men are disgusting when it comes to females in the gym.
Yeah.
And it's a sad reality.
Yeah.
And it's something that, unfortunately, women are just going to have to experience.
A gym is not a place to pick up women, and, that's also a culture that needs to change. But also, the ladies only section, I mean, it's uncomfortable for girls to be doing. I mean, girls are wearing putting towels on their backs and stuff like that when they're doing deadlifts because they don't want men to see. So they need to have an environment where they don't have to do that type of stuff, especially when you've got machines. Well, like glute training. Like glute training, we're going to have a specific area just for ladies where men can't go into that.
So we spoke about the inflation and the rand to dollar and everything, but you obviously have faith in South Africa and business in South Africa because of, now with Syringa Park, expanding the gym.
In all honesty, I'm incredibly frustrated with South Africa. I've seen in the last 15 years how backwards we've become. On my way here, hardly any robots work. There's no load shedding. They should work. We've got guys we got random people directing traffic half the time on drugs and making no sense of that. And is it acceptable? Is it acceptable to go that far back?
We've now accepted it.
We've accepted it, but it's unacceptable.
Yeah.
We mustn't say, at least. No, it's unacceptable. Water is becoming an issue. Electricity, stage 6 load shedding had such a bad impact on our business. When we're in stage 6 load shedding, it's very difficult to make a profit in the business. We sell treadmills. We're in the business of selling treadmills. How do you sell treadmills when you don't have electricity? And do I have faith? Yes, but I've also opened up in the Middle East because I'm concerned about the future of the country, and I don't want to have all my eggs in one basket. And the Middle East is such a thriving fitness industry at the moment. Middle East is where all the action's happening.
What do you think about, why do you think fitness is such a big thing in the Middle East?
A lot of expats. I think the government runs a good country. They promote fitness a lot more. Also, Dubai, Middle East is all about the way you look. And unfortunately, fortunately, fitness is one way to look better, and we all have control over that. You only get big by what you consume. I mean, people might have medical conditions, but most of the time it's what you consume.
Yeah.
And, there in every single apartment block, there's a gym. Where you don't have apartment blocks here, every single apartment block doesn't have a gym here, So, yeah, people are very concerned about the way they look there. So that's why the fitness industry is growing. But it's not as big as America. I mean, America, you got Planet Fitness, I think, with 2,000 gyms.
It's crazy.
That's a big market.
So you obviously, the equipment, the gym itself, the playgrounds, is there anything else that you'd look at doing that obviously is health related, fitness related?
No, I don't think so. I think I've got my hands on too many things at the moment, so I need to rest a little bit. I've started quite a few businesses in the recent times, so I need to now just grow these businesses more. Dubai and Middle East is going to be a big one for me still. And another thing that I'm doing is there's a brand that we sell called Shure, and I call them the Techno Gym of China because it's such a high-end brand and it's affordable, very good quality. So we're their biggest distributor in the world, and they've seen how we've westernized their brand through our content and videos and stuff like that. And we use a lot of models that you will recognize also. And they're using a lot of that content now on their equipment for the world. And when I started, I was the only distributor outside of China. Now they've got 40. But I've also brought on a lot of distributors, and I'm helping them globalize their brands. So next month I'll be in LA for Cybec Americas. And basically it's like speed dating for the fitness industry. So you speed date with customers. So you get a chance to pitch for like a half an hour for 4 days, and you'll meet hundreds of people in that time. So that's one thing I'm going to focus on now, is helping them globalize their brand. And then mentoring young people is also something that I really enjoy doing. What I get a kick out of doing is, like, if somebody grows up and they're 50 years old one day and they're successful, hopefully those people that I've mentored will have a conversation with somebody and say, the defining moment in my life was meeting this person, and they one of the reasons why, not the reason, but they made a difference in my life. And that's what I get a big kick out of. I don't need money for that. So I spend a lot of time mentoring guys and girls, but mostly young men. It was important for me to have a mentor. But you outgrow mentors and you'll get another mentor and another mentor in different stages of your life.
What is it that maybe your first mentor or the mentor that had the biggest impact for you is something that they taught you or imparted on you?
Learning how to sell features and benefits. Confidence also. I was a very shy guy. I went to Rampart High School. I don't know where you went to school.
Trinity.
Yeah. You went to a private school. So, Rampart High, they don't teach you how to become an entrepreneur. But you look at Saints and Pretoria Boys, you come out of school and you're confident. You're confident that you're going to make a success of your life. I left school not being confident that I'm going to make a success, because where do you go? You don't have a network. My parents weren't high-profile people where they can get me jobs and stuff like that. So I think I lacked confidence until I found a mentor that built up my confidence. And that mentor was my business partner. But I outgrew that also. Eventually you have your mentor that sits here, but I don't know if they want you to beat them. And that's a very difficult part also. But I'm only happy if I mentor somebody and they outgrow me, great. I'm just happy that I've had a part to play.
Now you said you're 38.
38, yeah.
Do you now still at this time have a mentor, maybe even if it's a not a business mentor, maybe like a mentor in a different field? Or
Definitely. So with all the shows and exhibitions that I do, I meet a lot of people from all over the world, and they've become like my best friends. So they're like a second family. When I go to FIBA now, I've got this other family that I hang out with, and it's an awesome time. And there's a guy by the name of Jimmy Andrews, and if he listens to this, he'll appreciate it. Also, he came actually stayed with me 3 weeks ago, and I look up to him in many ways. I almost see myself as a mini Jimmy now, where he's gone around the world networking, getting distributors for different companies. I'm doing something very similar. So I look up to him. He's 63 years old. And, you get bits of nuggets of knowledge from different people. So I like the way he networks and he's charismatic and stuff like that. And I learn from him. But then there's other people that I learn. I can't mention names, but there's lots of other people that I get nuggets of knowledge, not necessarily mentors, but just nuggets of knowledge from different people. And they don't necessarily have to be men only. They can be women also, where you watch podcasts and that kind of stuff, and you have these aha moments with, and it can be from younger people also. I've watched many of your podcasts the things that you say, and you're like, yeah, cool, that makes sense. You learn something from it. So I've been watching your progression since you were younger, and I've been just in silence, just watching it and stuff like that, and you say some inspirational things and things that make sense. For a young guy, that's very impressive.
Thank you. How, now with this networking, what are the biggest lessons, especially when you go overseas, being maybe not, you don't have you don't have a South African accent, but people might be like, where are you from?
Well, they think Australia.
Yeah. So, and you said, you had to learn confidence. How do you go about networking? Obviously, now you've built a name in the industry as a big player in South Africa for distribution. But how do you break those barriers to be able to get these meetings? Or
so sometimes I may look like I'm being confident, but inside I'm dying. But you just have to fake it, basically, because when you go to a new country like Dubai, you have to make sure people remember you. So you have one chance to meet people and make an impression, and you just have to fake it. If you're uncomfortable, just roll with it. I got distracted. What was the question again?
If you need to answer that, you can.
No, I think it's your phone. Oh, no, don't worry about it.
Okay.
I'm not going to answer.
Yeah, no, just, the importance of, or at least how do you go about, you mentioned the faking it aspect, because if you're unsure about...
No, I wouldn't say faking it. I'm not going to lie, but... I'm naturally quite a shy guy. I'm naturally quite a shy guy and reserved. And some people would say not a chance, but that's just the reality of the situation. I always have been a shy type of person. But you just have to, if you want to get anywhere, you have to just you're not gonna get anywhere by being shy and not speaking.
So you initially, you push past your own reservations to maybe just go and speak to a random person. And then eventually you grow to just being able to go without having to overthink.
So it's not like I have to chat people up to network. So that's actually it felt like that at Beyond Active in Saudi Arabia, because you can't drink there. And drinking is quite interestingly and I don't advocate or anything like that, but that's part of the networking. You have a bit of champagne and it breaks the ice and you have conversations, but you don't just chat to somebody, you just have to find something that's common between you. But we've also developed with Jimmy, this guy that I'm speaking about, we've developed an alliance called the Global Fit Association. And it's basically a bunch of friends of ours that are the key players in each industry or each territory. So we've got Germany, we've got Iran. Not Iran. Yeah, we've got Iran. We've got, Germany, Iran, South Africa, England.
Where's Jimmy from?
He's Scottish, but he lives in Germany.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's about 17 of us. And what we do now is we share knowledge with each other and we introduce each other to potential customers and that kind of thing. And that's how it works. So it's just networking. It's not I found you don't have much success with like basically chatting up a customer. I've tried that. It doesn't work.
So with networking, you obviously also, you have, as you mentioned, that almost alliance. How important is it to surround yourself in business with those type of people that are on the same mission, have the same goal, same values?
Incredibly important, but it's very difficult to do it in a local setting because you're giving up information that somebody could use against you in your own territory. So it's nice that we're all in different territories. We don't compete with each other, but we can share our success stories. But also warn each other. If we've got a supplier, remember, we come in with buying power now. We've got about $15 million a year worth of buying power in our group. So we can go to suppliers and say to them, these are the terms. And if you are giving bad service to one member of the alliance, you're giving bad service to all of us. So we're keeping these suppliers accountable also. So it's the first type of alliance in the industry, but it's almost like it's an invite only type of thing. We're not trying, there's no money in it or anything like that, but we're just looking out for each other in different territories. So I've introduced lots of people to Shure as an example. People have, Jimmy's introduced me to the factory that I use now for a lot of my products. So we help each other. And that's what it's all about. I don't think in South Africa we help each other enough. We're not, are we championing our fellow colleagues? I don't know if we are,
I think in South Africa, people are scared that they believe that the market in their particular field is so small. And I don't think in any country, no matter how big you get, will you ever reach your market cap.
Yeah.
Like there's always money to be made and money to be earned and clients to get in any country. Obviously you've also seen, okay, well, we can't charge 1,000 Rand. We have to charge 500 Rand. We're still going to keep a premium product that we're offering people, but you just have to be smart with it. Then you can draw in more people. And I mean, even, you're based in North Riding there, you're pulling in people that live next to Gold's Gym.
Yeah.
So it's not like you are limited to your pool of area. The market is massive. Even people that aren't within your little field of, living close to you are still coming. So that, I think, it's just also a belief of there's no cap on what we can achieve.
South Africa is a small place though, as you know.
It is.
Word travels quickly here. You can become a significant person in South Africa quite easily versus go to America, you can be a billionaire and still unknown. But in South Africa, what's nice is you can create a business and become significant in that industry. So I would say Mifitness is a significant player in the industry. And never in my wildest dreams did I think Mifitness would ever get this big. That was never the plan. It's almost like Maslow's hierarchy of needs where I was just trying to survive in the beginning, and then you do a little bit better, you invest a bit more, and then it just becomes a cycle,
Do you think that's like why you were more successful was because you went into it with, I have to make this work, as opposed to, I just want to get rich?
Yes, that's exactly it. So there was no money really in it. There was no spare cash. So everything that I imported had to sell. I couldn't take chances because there was nobody to bail me out. And I wouldn't have had it any different way. I'm happy I had those humble beginnings because I know what it feels like to suffer. I mean, when I left school and I started working for the first time, I mean, there were days where I had 50 Rand to my name with 5 days left of the month, where you have to eat pap, and whatever it is, and you're not living at home. These are the things that I had to do. And a lot of young people haven't experienced that, but a lot of people have also. I lost my train of thought. I was going to say something else now. And I got retrenched at my first job also. So I know what it feels like to be retrenched and have nothing and have no money coming into the bank account and be living on your own.
Is there a fear in you now? Obviously, if everything had to fail, you've got, contingencies in place, but is that a driving force for you?
I think every entrepreneur has that fear still that they could lose everything. And that what keeps them motivated and pushing forward and not resting on their laurels. I think I have that fear. Yes, I do, definitely. And that's why I start other businesses, that in case one fails, I've got something else as a backup plan. In reality, I don't think it's going to fail, but it's still a fear. And I think it's a healthy fear because I've seen it in my life. I've seen people lose everything. I've lost everything once. I mean, before COVID, I almost lost everything. We're trying to pay everybody their salaries and everything like that. We paid full salaries, but there was nothing left. I had to start from Rand zero again, basically, after COVID.
What was the biggest lesson business-wise that COVID taught you?
Listen, it exposed people's true personalities, I think, Not to say too much about individuals and stuff, but I think a lot of people showed their true colors. And companies that didn't pay their employees, companies that defrauded the government through the TERS payments and stuff like that. So I think that's the biggest lesson. But I think we were quite fickle during COVID also, we're kind of like sheep and we just had to follow and accept the rules and stuff like that. When we look in hindsight now, I think some of us would be embarrassed. I'm a little bit embarrassed about how I reacted and how anal I was about it, I mean, I had a baby the first day of COVID, so we didn't let anybody near our child and everything like that. But, people also died from COVID, so you can't really blame us. But I do think that COVID was used as an excuse for many people to act a certain way.
How challenging is it for you with your business at scale, managing, what do you do when, you have stage 6 load shedding, you can't sell treadmills, how do you break past these barriers that almost the government puts on you?
It's tough. I mean, that's where you have to be, because the business is scaled and it's big, we've got resources so we can almost bail ourselves out we can coast along and we'll be okay, where the small companies don't have that capability of doing that. But it's frustrating and it's annoying because I've done nothing wrong. I'm doing the best that I can. And South Africa is predictable in one way that it's unpredictable. We don't know what we're going to get every day.
Something's going to go wrong. So
There's something, and it's not one thing that's going to irritate you. It's going to be a multitude of things. Just driving to work and back, you're going to get irritated and through the traffic and being late and everything like that. People not waiting their turn at the four-way stop. It's quite annoying. Now, if you go to the Middle East, it's a very predictable place. Not now at the moment with the weather, but generally speaking, it's very predictable to do business there. But in saying that, though, South Africa is quite a good platform. If it's unpredictable, there's money to be made. And that's where COVID happened also. I was very agile. In South Africa, you have to be very agile in business. You have to be able to adapt very quickly. But we're living in constant stress. And what's the solution for that? In South Africa, if you want to do business here, it's very, very stressful because you don't know what you're going to get each day. In COVID, remember, gym equipment became like gold. And we had an armed, it was basically a heist on the highway where we were going to install train station gym equipment with 3 vehicles and they stole the gym equipment. It was a heist with AK-47s on the highway. Within a half an hour, all that gym equipment was gone, never to be found again.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, but that's what we have to experience, you know. That's what happens, you know. And you didn't have this in other countries. Now, you say to yourself, "Oh, we've got insurance." Goods in transit, you still got a 30%. You still lost 30% of your stock value because they only cover the cost of the goods. They don't cover the profit that you lost, and then they only cover 70%, and then the 30% is your own.
Do you find now, obviously branching out into the Middle East, having all the struggles from South Africa have equipped you to be able to be more fluid in a place that doesn't really require you to be as fluid, but you've learned so much from an unpredictable market that if small unpredictable things happen, you can cope and manage with them?
Yeah, definitely. South Africans, if you're a hardworking South African and you go, I think you'll make it in anywhere in the world because you're resilient. And you know what it feels like to struggle and not for things not to go your way. And but one thing with the Middle East, people don't switch off there. They work 24/7, eh? And that's the other thing. South Africa, we work from 8 till 5. There, the norm is you just work. Because remember, there, if you're not on good terms with your company and you lose your job, you got to leave. Where the employee sector here is quite strong with CCMA and that kind of stuff.
Let's say you start, because obviously you started 23 years ago. Now you start again.
No, not 23. When I was 23.
Sorry, when you were 23. Now you start again. Doesn't matter the industry, but you know, what would you do differently in today's climate? If you had to, or even in any business now that you start, you know, what smarter or more thought do you put into it, having experience in today's climate?
So, I think I've made the mistakes already, you know, so it's fairly stock standard to start a business now. You know how to register a company, you know how to form the company, you know, we've got an HR team so we can employ people and whatever it is. So we know how to start businesses and that kind of thing. Because a lot of guys don't know how to to do their tax properly even, you know, VAT and PAYE and all that kind of stuff. I also restructured my business about 5 years ago. So I think I also learned from the mistakes and I restructured the business, and it took some time to do it. Your question again?
Let's say you're 23.
Yeah.
But you've got some understanding of business. You're starting a business now in 2024. You're 23 years old, but you've got the insight. Let's say you don't have the money to hire the HR and all of that. So let's say a 23-year-old is watching this. You know, what's some of the best advice that you can give someone?
I would say get onto this the tech bandwagon, you know, get educated on it, because not knowing how to use a computer and being IT literate is actually a disability, worse than a physical disability. And I think that is like AI as an example. I don't know about you, but I'm getting incredibly annoyed with the AI terminology now. I mean, what's the main sentence that everybody uses now?
Like with ChatGPT.
Yeah, with ChatGPT. I mean, it's so predictable now when you're using AI. Even if some of my own staff try to respond to me in AI, and I'm like, guys, I'm not silly. I can see it's AI. I want you to write the email. But I would say getting onto just, again, the advice that I gave, because I've created a successful business, I believe. And I think it's based on what I did from as 23. So I wouldn't change anything that I actually did. And I think that's why the question is quite hard, because I'm thinking of things that I could do better. But I think I did it right. I educated myself through self-education, and I gave myself the tools to start a business. And I've started other businesses. I had a business with my wife called Fat Panda. We used to do wooden and bamboo covers, custom engraving and that kind of thing. We made hundreds of thousands of these covers. And it was a business that had a good times and bad times, and then we eventually closed it. So the principle is exactly the same. Like importing a product, all you have to know is that what is your import duty on that product, because it differs on the category. But importing a product is pretty much the same concept. You know, you have to organize your freight or air freight it. You get your landed cost, etc., etc. You put up a markup. But I think what you need to do before you start a business, you need to understand that market and you have to understand your competitors. I also, it's actually Nick from Move. Because whenever I used to work with him, I used to want to plan so far in advance, and he would be like, Roland, don't plan so far in advance. Let's just kind of wing it sometimes. And I've also learned that you have to wing it sometimes. You can't predict everything, and you can't plan around everything. You just have to be agile.
So
He's
now,
also a guy that I learn a lot from,
Okay.
Nick Tosh from Move. He probably won't like, if he sees this video also, he probably won't like that I'm talking about him. But he's a very inspirational guy, and I've learned a lot from him also.
and being, having your experience, you still are willing to learn. I think that's also a
100%.
mistake people make is, I'm 50, I've got a successful business. What are you going to teach me?
100%.
So,
Always learning.
You got this back injury. Now you got a fight coming up in closing. You're going to be ready.
Yeah, you must come watch.
I'm definitely going to come watch.
Yeah, I'll be ready. I mean, listen, I lost my mojo with my training, but I've been actively doing the boxing now for many years. So you don't lose it's just fitness. You don't lose the skill. Well, yeah, I guess you do lose the skill over time, but you still know how to box and throw punches and stuff like that. But I'll be as ready as I can. Still 3 weeks to go, 2.5 weeks.
And that is at Syringa Park.
Yeah, Syringa Park.
And you're the main title fight.
Main fight, yeah.
Awesome. Well, Roland, thank you so much for coming on.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
I really appreciate it. Awesome.
Cool.
And thanks, guys, for watching. Cheers.
Cool.